Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is a pleasure to host with you and to be back in the studios again.
Yeah.
And we've been out some time, but we're getting back into the format and the structure of things, and I'm happy we're here.
Yeah, with our COVID-friendly set.
Yeah, COVID-friendly set. That simply means that guests are free to be booked and become a part of the show.
And speaking of the show and what helps to make it happen, we've got some great sponsors.
Some great sponsors. We have Tomiko and Associates. We have Lavinia and Summers Funeral Homes Services. And we have the Marion County Public Health Department, Lee Cussell and Crawley, Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes. We have the North Side Window and Gutter Cleaning, Fervent Prayer Christian Academy. Not only that, we have His Place Eatery, where you can go get a good meal on Fridays. Catfish is phenomenal, they say.
That's what they say, and it is. And certainly you all are great too. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate you. Please be sure to text somebody, let someone know that we're on. We got some great guests coming up. We're gonna be talking about Juneteenth.
Yeah.
But before that, we wanna encourage you also to go to YouTube and put in WHMB TV 40. You can watch this show when it's over, as well as others that you might have missed. And
You can like us on Facebook. We're there waiting on you.
so please do that today and stay with us. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices, and we're joined by Reverend Dolores Thornton and Linda Everett here to talk about Juneteenth. First of all, thank you all for the service that you have given our community over the years. Both of you all are certainly not new to community service and doing great things for the community, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reverend Thornton, talk to us about Chess Press.
All right, Chess Press is a company that I started last year. I did it so that I could have a consulting arm along with my Marguerite Press Incorporated, which is a 501c3. And I normally would publish authors and do a lot of things, promotional type things. And I decided I didn't want to run all that through my board. So I launched Chess Press, and I got the name from my dad, whose name was Chester Lewis Sr. And so I named it after him, and it's been doing really well. I've been doing a lot of great things with Chess Press.
Well, good. And Chess Press is going to be involved in Juneteenth?
Yes, going to be involved in Juneteenth.
Why did you choose Juneteenth?
Why did I choose Juneteenth?
Yeah, to magnify it.
Because I was so upset that so many people, especially in the African American community, are still unaware of Juneteenth. And I teach an acting class at Him by Her Collegiate School of the Arts, and I deal with children from age 6 to 12. And when I spoke about Juneteenth, I asked them to raise their hands if they knew what it was, and I held up the Juneteenth flag, and not one of them knew. And so I decided that I was going to do more. I have always celebrated Juneteenth for about 20 years, ever since I first went to Galveston and then all up and down the California coast where it is very popular. San Bernardino, Frisco, Fresno, all of those areas, and New York.
It is a national holiday.
Yeah, it's a national holiday. Yes.
But here locally, we just received it as a national holiday. We just begin to.
Yeah, just like Juneteenth, just like they were 2.5 years late getting the word, it's like Indianapolis has been late getting the feeling.
Well, this is a place
into it.
of nap town, so we're still asleep on
We're
some
waking
things.
up though. We're waking up. Good thing.
So talk to us, Linda, what is Juneteenth?
Juneteenth. Juneteenth means a lot to different people. It means something different to different people. Juneteenth is the celebration when the enslaved people were awarded their freedom. Most people think that people were freed with the Emancipation Proclamation, which was in 1863. However, there were people still in Texas for another 2.5 years that didn't know anything about it until June 19th. That's where Juneteenth comes from, it's June and 19th, 1865. So it's a celebration of freedom, it's a celebration of liberation of the enslaved people.
Wow. And how would you recommend that people celebrate it? You all going to have some activities, obviously.
Oh yeah, there are activities throughout the city, and normally people have parades. They have different contests. They have speakers. They have Civil War reenactments. They just had one recently at Crown Hill, and one of the actors that used to work with me in my plays and in my films was Baba Kabir. He died maybe 2 years ago, I think, and he was part of that. But he traveled the country during the Civil War reenactments. That's really, popular. But people incorporate dinners, barbecues. It's just really a real nice summer holiday, and people use it to sponsor contests, and it's just really a family and a community type affair. And so it's, like I said, it's very popular.
How do you see it this year coming, since it's going to be poised on a Sunday?
You know what? That has caused problems for me right now, because a lot of the places always have it on Saturday, but this year, some places like the Flanner House, they're actually going to observe Sunday. And I had already scheduled other arrangements to be other places on that Sunday, because I just knew theirs was going to be on, going to be Saturday. And I just found out it's going to be Sunday, and the schedule is not out. So I can't even nail down my other appearances, by it being on Sunday.
And can I say that a lot of activities that are going on in the city, they're doing it now, they're expanding it. So you may see Juneteenth programs that may start. They have one at the Indian Historical Society, June 5th. So they're expanding it because they know June 19th, you can't get it all in, or people will be so divided that they can't take advantage of everything. So there are different things going on even on the 18th, because I'm going to do a performance. I do Ida B. Wells, a first-person portrayal of Ida B. Wells, and they'll be on the 18th. There are different things going on all week, and almost even 2 weeks for Juneteenth.
Right.
So it's catching on in our city now.
It is.
It really
is.
is. And part of that, I hate to say, is thanks to us. I introduced the Indianapolis Book Fest to Central Library and asked them to hold it in conjunction with Juneteenth a couple years ago. And then I think in 2019, my sister and I did From Ghana to Galveston as part of the Juneteenth and Indianapolis Book Fest as part of the Indianapolis-Marion County Public Library program. So, I always do Juneteenth programs. I'm still designing some for other organizations here in the city.
Phenomenal.
So what is the significance of making sure that people in our community are aware of Juneteenth? You've articulated what it is, but why is it so significantly important that people know?
I feel it's so very important that we know our history. We always say that our history shouldn't be a mystery, but it is to so many people. And it's because we don't expose the ones that do know. Like they always say, each one teach one. If you know about it, you should expose someone to that. And I think that's the relevancy of these programs. It may be a parade, it may be a cookout, but just knowing the significance of that holiday. And I think it's so very important, it's imperative right now, with them wanting to ban and cut out so many things of our history out of school. It's so important that we teach our children their legacy. Teach our children the importance of Juneteenth. And I think that's why we really have to have a voice to our history.
Yeah, that's so important, and I agree. And like my sister said, it's just important that we know our history, but not only for us, but for other races.
Right.
Other races don't even know the things that we've done. And people tend to say, when we bring up reparations or slavery, people want to say this was ancient history. This was a long time ago. This doesn't affect us now. But really it does, because I sit here, the great granddaughter of a slave. my great-grandfather, Cass Chisholm, was born a slave in Rome, Georgia. So this is a passion within me, and I'm always gonna teach my people and tell my people about what happened and how we came through so many different things. And this is not something just in a book from a long time ago. And you know, just like the whole movement of the Emmett Till, the John Lewis and the John Pettus Bridge, I'm of the age that I saw all that played out on TV in black and white. You know, so this was not a long, long time ago, and I like to keep it fresh in people's minds.
All right, and we'll continue to do that in our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be back with more of Juneteenth after this. We are glad that you are still with us, and we are joined today by two wonderful, outstanding women in our community, Reverend Dolores Thornton and Linda Everett. We're talking about Juneteenth. We left off talking about how important it is for everyone to know about it. When it comes to catechizing our young people, is this something that you all feel should be taught in schools at an early age?
I definitely think it should be taught in school. I would say I came up during the 60s and 70s, and there was not a lot of Black history taught. I'm pretty much self-taught on a lot of Black history. But I think with them, like I said earlier, with them trying to take out so much of our history out of school and out of books, taking all the books out of the school, I think this is so very important for them to learn at a young age, just learning their history, because this history is American history. When people say Black history is American history. The enslavement and the liberation of enslaved people is American history. It is just as important to children growing up, to their knowledge, their well-being, being well-rounded, as any other course. They should know about it.
So the CRT issues that are running around rampantly in the country, you talk about our history. The argument is the other culture's history. Our history has, in many cases, been richly diluted.
Yes, and distorted.
And distorted because of the culture of the oppressor.
True.
Yes.
And so now when we see CRT, people don't want to actually admit it, but CRT is threatened, is a threat to those who have ancestral oppressors. And they don't want their grandchildren to know that Meemaw and Pawpaw
So true.
Right.
were very much involved in that. And so nobody will say it like that but me. So,
But it's true.
but that's where we are. And you see it throughout so many issues in this
Yes.
country
Yeah.
to where when we have a culture collide, we begin to see the conspiracy and the cover-up because we don't really want people to know how cruel people can really be towards one another.
Right. I so agree. And like you had said about should it be taught in schools, and it definitely should. And I believe in the Bible when it says train up a child, because I honestly believe that it is better and easier to train children than to try to untrain and retrain grown people. And so if we instill their worth and their value and let them see the things that we have done as a people in this country and even throughout the world, throughout the diaspora, if they know these things, that will give them a greater self-worth. And so I think it is extremely important. That's why I volunteer and give free acting classes and You know, even in my plays and everything, I try to incorporate as much Black history as I can. And, you know, even the little history that they teach us in school are the same 3 or 4 people. But there were thousands, just like I'm doing now, Mary Meacham. And a lot of people have never heard of her. But she was an abolitionist. She was working on the Underground Railroad at the same time as Harriet Tubman. But people have the habit of wanting to compete instead of complete. You know, you don't want to help somebody do something, you want to try to outdo somebody. So if we as a people could learn, you know, to complete each other, and everybody has a story. You know, and there were thousands, you know, during that period that did things on the Underground Railroad. And so I focus on the Underground Railroad during Juneteenth because that is really what it is about.
Well, the original Wall Street
Yes.
was Black Wall Street.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it was. Yes, it was.
And no one really wants to really talk about that when we talk about the originality of it
Yeah.
in many instances. And so there are cultures who have plagiarized and have become very profitable on these type of situations. And the Juneteenth, it is very important
Yes.
for people to be free, and still yet a segment of the country still remained enslaved because of a lack of communication
Yeah.
of the oppressors.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can
Yeah.
you imagine?
Right.
Can you imagine? And not only Juneteenth, I have a friend, she lives here, her name is Bertha Davis. She wrote a book called Growing Up in Mississippi. And she grew up in Money, Mississippi. You know, that was the home of Emmett Till. And she said that her parents were sharecroppers. And this was not even during slavery. This was like the 1950s, 1960s. And when they tried to leave, you know, the owner of, she called the plantation, was shooting at them, you know. And I mean, you know, can you imagine in the 50s and the 60s, you know? And that's just like even Juneteenth. I can't even fathom somebody being 2.5 years late getting the news. And there are a lot of excuses that have been offered up. One was that somebody was supposed to go tell them, and he disappeared, somebody kidnapped him. One was that they wanted to let the slaveholders have an additional planting season for the cotton. There were like 2 or 3 different reasons that it took 2.5 years for and I mean, it's almost like you're at work, you're on your job, and it's time to get off and you don't know it and everybody else is gone. And you just working there till the next day. I mean, it's unreal. It's unfathomable.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Not to me.
Not knowing who we were dealing with or who they were dealing with.
In our
Yeah,
la-
well, yeah.
in
Right.
our last minute or so, some might say, well, this is a Black holiday or a holiday just for Black folks. What would you all respond to that?
I would. Oh, go ahead, sister. Oh, I would say it's not a Black holiday. I would say it's a holiday for everybody. I remember when we were, I guess I was in the 7th or 8th grade when they were pushing for the Martin Luther King holiday. I was still in grade school, high school, and we always stayed home. Our parents let us stay home to recognize that as a holiday, even before it was an official holiday. And I would say that this is a holiday for everybody. Some
It
people
should be
may
collaboration.
Some people may choose, but they'll take that day off and they'll take that day's pay, but they may choose not to acknowledge it. But it's a holiday for everybody because it's a day that changed the trajectory, not just for Blacks, but for everybody.
It's still a sense of independence.
Yeah,
It is liberation for a people.
So it should be.
It's for
Yes.
everyone, and that's
Yes.
why in 2010, Governor Holcomb made it a state holiday. A lot of the states, you know, didn't have it as a holiday when Indiana did. And then last year, you know, of course, President Biden made it a federal holiday. And so that, you know, people get off work and everything that work for federal, you know, they get it as a paid holiday. So it's just not for Black people, it's for
everybody.
everyone. Like my sister mentioned earlier, our history is American history. It's interwoven. So you can't separate what happened, no matter how, you state it, no matter how the deniers want to just disqualify what happened. It happened, and if it's not in history books, it's in people's hearts. I know it's in my heart and in my mind, because like I said, I remember Papa Cass. He was alive when I was small, and he was born a slave.
And that's why it's so important for us to tell our story.
Well, you all have been great guests today. Thank you for raising,
Thank you for having us.
bringing more attention to this. And thank you all for joining us. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment with the rundown. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Moore.
And I'm your producer, Curtis Baker.
And we've got some wonderful news.
Yes.
With one of our top fans.
One of your favorite viewers out of Kokomo, Indiana, and that would be my Aunt Jeanette. She just turned 89 years young.
Happy 89.
And she just loves you guys, as you can see by the cup in her hand.
Yeah.
She's one of your favorite viewers. She doesn't miss an episode.
She's
and
beautiful,
I just love her to death. Yeah. So, want to talk about the sponsors.
Go right ahead.
Tamiko and Associates, Lavinia and Summers, Marion County Public Health Department, Lee Cossell and Crawley, Al's Modern Clothing and Shoes, Northside Window and Gutter Cleaning, Fervent Care, Christian Academy, and His Place Eatery.
Great sponsors, and we thank God for them. Juneteenth is coming up.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a very festive time in our city. I think it's getting more play than it has gotten, and people are becoming more aware of it, and we are grateful to have people like Dr. Thornton and Ms. Everett to do what they're doing in the city of Indianapolis to make it more notable and visible in our city.
Yeah, and a lot of activities. Of course, they've got some things going on. There's going to be some other things going on in the city.
A lot of things.
A lot of people.
There's a parade going on too. Did you hear about the parade?
Yeah. It's going to be a couple of weeks of festivities, and it's going to be interesting to see how people receive it.
And tune to our station all the month of June, and every Wednesday in June around 9:30, we're having specials on our station.
Great.
Based on Juneteenth and Black Music Month, which is actually June as well.
That's right.
All right, and we're finished here today. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.